By buying it all together as one well-integrated unit, you spend your time on the customers instead of spending your time on integration. And that is worth a lot to us.
Hi, I'm Greg Euland with Reynolds & Reynolds. Here with me today is Nelson Andrews, dealer principal at Andrews Transportation Group. He runs Andrews Cadillac and Jaguar Land Rover Nashville, both in beautiful Brentwood, Tennessee. Nelson, thanks so much for taking some time to talk.
Hey, thanks for having me, Greg.
Of course. So Nelson, you and I have spoken in the past about how you're using Reynolds Retail Management System to keep up with the evolving retail world. But today, I want to dive into how Reynolds is helping your dealership stay connected to customers no matter where they are, and what that truly means to your business. So to set the stage just a little bit, can you start off maybe with your experience in automotive and give a little bit of your background?
Sure. My background is actually I was initially a computer systems guy prior to 1993. And in 1993, I came back to Andrews Cadillac and started working in the store while doing my graduate degree and really got hooked on the car business. But I've always enjoyed, the operational end of it. But part of the operations has always been technology. So I've always been glad to have a little bit of that in my background here.
And through your experience, how have you seen automotive retailing evolve throughout your career?
Yeah, I mean, in some ways it's evolved considerably. In other ways, it's still very much the same. The process by which people shop in terms of the mental process of consideration, product selection, the different attributes of buying. The psychology has stayed very much the same in a lot of ways, and probably has for a long time. But the actual means by which we go about it in terms of how we communicate with customers, how we share information, the ease of which people can gather up a lot of different options has changed unbelievably and continues to change as technology gives us more and more ways to connect to each other.
So I'm curious then too, as a longtime Reynolds customer, which obviously we very much appreciate, how has Reynolds helped you be at the forefront of those evolving kind of expectations?
Yeah, Reynolds has been a key partner for the Andrews Transportation Group because at this point we actually have it all the way from the phone system, the initial contact with the customer, or if the customer prefers email or text through contact management, all the way through the entire buying process, the follow-up process, service, and even the credit card services for paying for service and the subsequent follow-up. So we've just decided a while back to be an integrated Reynolds store all the way through in order to make it very easy for the customer to communicate with us by whatever means they prefer.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. And thinking about that customer interaction and allowing that communication, however they want. Yeah, especially in today's world, there's certainly positives and negatives, right? When you think about
Mhm.
online interactions or whatever those preferences might be, how are you balancing less kind of face-to-face interactions with customers between that and dealership efficiency and profitability? How are you balancing those two things?
Well, in terms of value added face to face, I actually think that may be increasing, not decreasing, because with tools, whether it is the contact management or the RITS system, or in particular the DocuPad, we've been able to eliminate quite a bit of non-value added time spent by the customer and be able to spend more time customer facing or customer focused. So while it's not always necessarily across the desk from each other, we are able to connect to customers in a more meaningful way. And also because of time savings from stuff that used to just be non-value added, we're able to have more time to really spend on things that mean something to our customer. So I actually think it allows us to be higher touch in a way that customers appreciate.
So beyond those pieces that you mentioned, are there any other maybe certain aspects of the business that Reynolds Retail Anywhere approach helps with the most?
Well, it's hard to say what helps with the most. It's very specific to the individual and their preferences. But I know this past year, I was incredibly grateful that we'd been set up for being able to pay for tickets remotely. So during this past year in 2020, it was extraordinarily nice for customers that needed to have their cars repaired, because last year nobody had any patience for an unreliable vehicle. But people were also very leery about personal contact. So being able to email the service invoice and collect payment remotely and let the customer ask any questions they might have, either by email or the phone or text or however they preferred, and had all that handled with minimal interpersonal contact during an uncertain time. That was fantastic. And that's not why we initially bought the system, but we sure were glad to have that in place when we needed it.
Yeah, yeah, it's amazing how just changes in the world can make certain things more important. So
Yeah.
that's good to hear. So Nelson, already you've touched on a lot of different pieces of the business, service tickets, and you talked about things in the F&I office and sales interactions. With all those different pieces, is it fair to say that you really kind of value a holistic process and approach? And if so, what does that holistic view kind of mean to your business?
Well, it's absolutely correct. In terms of having things integrated all the way through, it's very important in terms of being efficient and in being professional. So having, the opportunity for customer records to come up with the incoming phone call, being able to save the time with that, but also being able to research things because all the different systems are interconnected and talk to each other. It's really opened up a lot of good opportunities for us. I'd also say being able to have the transactions connect all the way through to the point sometimes with contracts, we're being paid on the contracts as quickly or more quickly than the contract is getting to the accounting office. This integration has very real business implications from both a customer service standpoint, but also a business cash flow standpoint.
Yeah, and could you maybe dive into that a little bit more? So when you think about the benefits of kind of a holistic approach and those real business impacts that you were talking about, are there any others that are top of mind for you as far as the impact on the business that this type of approach brings?
I mean, it's a big question. I can give you a quick contrast, and I'll try not to get too deep into it. But an example I've used as we've talked about it as a management team is for the folks out there that are very into home theater or who are into the idea of home electronics. Sometimes if you go out there and really try to buy the absolute number one product in every category, you then end up sometimes with a whole lot of different brands involved, and you spend all your time trying to integrate them. And there have been times at the dealership that we tried that in terms of trying to integrate a whole bunch of disparate products. And that what we found is with Reynolds, they're integrated beautifully. So it's almost a little bit like, rather than trying to buy the best of breed of every home electronics and try to get them to talk, or building your own PC of different parts from different manufacturers, by buying it all together as one well-integrated unit, you spend your time on the customers instead of spending your time on integration. And that is worth a lot to us.
No, it's a great analogy for sure. It's kind of the 1 + 1 = 3 thought process, right? You get more when you put them together. No, that's good. No, Nelson, this has been great. To wrap up, I do want to get your thoughts on kind of where you see things going, specifically from a digital retail perspective. You mentioned, being higher touch is something that's valuable to you guys. What do you see coming down the road from a digital retailing perspective, and maybe what are you most excited about?
Yeah, I mean, what we seem to see coming down the road is, I think customers are getting more and more used to making appointments for contact with different stores, and we're seeing it in a lot of different segments where people will go through and they'll consider a product or they'll consider a service, and then they'll want to contact the organization and have a specific time to come in to meet with a specific person. People are getting very conscious of their time, and I think as our technology improves, people are using it to maximize their time. So down the road, I think it's very important for us as a dealership to be able to work with people from their own mindset and helping them maximize the use of their time and their money. So I think as we go forward, we're going to continue to be taking a look at how to be high touch, how to be high service in a way that's meaningful to our customers, and be prepared to meet with customers on their terms. And I think a lot of that has to do with being ready on an appointment basis, and also being ready to have good ideas of how to make the best use of their time while they're here and being efficient with it. So not having a lot of lag time, not having a lot of waits, but being able to be predictable, consistent, and reliable.
Well, Nelson, thanks so much for taking time to talk today. It was great to catch up. I really appreciate it.
Hey, thank you, Greg. It was a pleasure to talk to you.
For more information, visit rarey.com/retail anywhere. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a great day.